come in for your glory. We will lift you up. We will come in for your glory. We will lift you up. We will come in for your glory.
So, I want to read some scripture with you. Going to stay in 2 Samuel 15. Just for you guys who visited with us for the first time, maybe joining with us online for the first time, we have been on a mission. God has sent us on a mission to go through the entire Bible. So we started back in Genesis. We did a series last year called Overwhelmed. We started in Genesis, and we have made our way, story by story, character by character, to 2 Samuel chapter 15. We started this year with a new series called Finish Strong. And that new series called Finish Strong is all about us looking at David's new kingdom, understanding the ancient wisdom, the things that he did right, the things that he did wrong, the things that people around him did right, the things that people around him did wrong, that either helped them or prohibited them from finishing strong. Because we know that God is always doing a new thing. God is always opening new doors. He's always sending new people into our lives, new opportunities. And the question really comes down to this one fundamental question. That is, when God gives us something new, can we finish strong with it? And what we've been doing, we just focused on finishing strong. And so what I want to do is I want to pick back up in 2 Samuel chapter 15. This is the chapter in which David loses his new thing. David becomes the king. David makes a bad mistake. David repents of that mistake, but the consequences of that mistake are the consequences of that mistake. And David has lost children because of it. And now he is in the process of losing his kingdom. He is literally on the run, getting ready to go on the run. And so we're going to pick up right there. A messenger soon arrived in Jerusalem to tell David all Israel has joined Absalom in a conspiracy against you. Then we must flee at once, or it will be too late. David urged his men, hurry. If we get out of the city before Absalom arrives, both we and the city of Jerusalem will be spared from disaster. Just so you understand, during this time, new kingdom comes in, they wipe out the old kingdom. Anybody stand back, more than likely will be killed. It says, we are with you. His advisors replied, do what you think is best. So the king and all his household set out at once. He left no one behind except for 10 concubines to look after the palace. The king and all his people set out on foot, pausing at the last house to let the king's men move past to lead the way. There were 600 men from Gath who had come with David along with the king's bodyguard. I want you guys to remember this. We talked about this a while ago. David was out. He was in Gath for a period of time. He had these men. He was attracting these people to him. He was a really good friend. He was a good person. He drew a lot of people to him. He has these 600 men who left their kingdom just to come and be with him. That's the kind of friend he was. Let's go a little bit further. Then the king turned and said to Attai, a leader of the men from Gath, why are you coming with us? Go back to King Absalom, for you are a guest in Israel, a foreigner in exile. You arrived only recently, and should I force you today to wander with us? I don't even know where we will go. Go on back, take your kinsman with you, and may Yahweh show you his unfailing love and faithfulness. But Attai said to the king, I vow by Yahweh and by your own life that I will go wherever my lord the king goes. No matter what happens, whether it means life or death, David replied, all right, come with us. So Attai and all his men and their families went along. Everyone cried loudly as the king and his followers passed by. They crossed the Kidron Valley and then went out toward the wilderness. Zadok and all the Levites also came along carrying the ark of the covenant of Elohim. They set down the ark of Elohim, and Abiathar offered sacrifices until everyone had passed out of the city. Then the king instructed Zadok to take the ark of Elohim back into the city. If Yahweh sees fit, David said, he will bring me back to see the ark and the tabernacle again. But if he is through with me, then let him do what seems best to him. The king also told Zadok the priest, look, here is my plan. You and Abiathar should return quietly to the city with your son Ahimaaz, and Abiathar's son Jonathan. I will stop at the shallows of the Jordan River and wait there for a report from you. So Zadok and Abiathar took the ark of Elohim back to the city and stayed there. David walked up the road to the Mount of Olives, weeping as he went. His new thing is over. His head was covered and his feet were bare as a sign of mourning. He's lost it, guys. And the people who were with him covered their heads and wept as they climbed the hill. When someone told David that his advisor Ahithophel was now backing Absalom, David prayed, "Oh Yahweh, let Ahithophel give Absalom foolish advice." When David reached the summit of the Mount of Olives, where people worshiped Elohim, Uzziah, the Archite, was waiting there for him. Uzziah had torn his clothing and put dirt on his head as a sign of mourning. Father God, we come to you now in the name of your Son, Yeshua the Christ. God, we lift you up right now. We come before you today, God, because we have an understanding that we need friends. And we stay in a time in which we have many friends but no close friends. And it is my prayer today, God, that you begin to show us the importance of having close friends, people close to us that can encourage us, that can be there with us, that can help us out. Remove any barriers that we have to forming close relationships, and allow for us to leave this place today appreciating the close friends that we have and developing new close friends in our life. We pray this in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. To God be the glory. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. Amen. I want to talk with you today about the importance of friends, having close friends in our new thing. You know, I was watching the movie King Richard with my wife and mother-in-law and kids maybe a few weeks ago. And there's a particular scene. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it yet. If you have not seen it, I would highly advise you to go and watch it. They do a wonderful job of documenting the life of Venus Williams primarily, but we look at the Williams family. We look at Richard. We look at, there's even a few clips of the sisters as well. It's a really, really good movie. It'd be worth your time. But we get to the end of the movie. And there's this particular scene. I don't know if you guys have seen it, where Venus is playing in her second ever pro event. It's an amazing thing because she's 14 years old and she's actually competing against a grown lady who is number one in the entire world. Her name is Sanchez Vicario, I believe is what her name was. And Venus is giving her the business. I'm talking about she is really just dominating this grown lady. And this grown lady decides to do something which I don't think I've ever seen. I watch tennis. I enjoy tennis. I don't think I've ever seen a person take a bathroom break in the middle of a tennis match. But this lady, in the middle of the tennis match, She's behind. She's losing. Venus is just giving her the business. I'm talking about she's playing at 14 years old. She's playing with such confidence. You would have thought that she was the older person, the person that had played longer, the person that had the more experience, and that this number one lady was just somebody that they rolled in off the street. I'm talking about this lady is really getting beat by this 14-year-old child. And so all of a sudden, this Vicario, she decides to ice Venus. And so what she does is she literally goes to the judge and says, hey, I need to go to the bathroom. I've got to go to the bathroom. And so they give her a bathroom break. And so she goes to the bathroom, but she stays. I'm talking about I'm an anxious movie watcher. I get anxious. I get anxiety when I'm watching movies. That's why I stopped watching scary movies. It's too much for me. I get all into the movie. You know, I'm there in the movie with them. I'm sitting in the audience, and I'm looking at this young girl, and she has nobody to help her. And then they scan over to her mom and the coach, and they're having a conversation. And the coach is saying, well, she's icing her. She's trying to make her lose her confidence. And then they go back over to Venus, the girl that's playing Venus, and you see her. She's obviously starting to fidget and walk around and getting confused. I don't know what's going on. She's looking around. She's looking at her coach. Coach is not saying nothing. Mom's not saying nothing. She's looking at dad. Dad's not saying nothing. Sister's not saying anything. Nobody's saying anything. She's in this situation she's never been in her life, and she doesn't have one friend to come to her. Not one coach, not mom, not dad, not anybody to come to her and say, listen, this is going to be okay. She's trying to ice you. Just sit down, jog in place, do whatever. Keep your mind in the game. You know, the kind of stuff that friends tell you. It's going to be all right. Don't let her. She's trying to distract you. This is a strategy. This is a ploy. This is a plot. She doesn't have anybody. And so at this point, I'm talking to the TV. How many of you guys watch, who watch movies like, I'm talking to the TV as if the people on the TV can hear me talking to them. And I'm talking to them. I was like, Mom, get your butt. I think I said butt. Get your bottom down there and help this little girl. This little girl is going to lose this match. She looks so scared. I wanted to go down and talk to Venus and say, come on here, let me talk to you. You know, that she ain't about nothing. She's just trying to fool you. She's just trying to psych you out. The reason why she in that bathroom is because she back there crying and she's scared to come back out here and face you. See, if I would have been there, I would have went down there and said that to her. But then I started talking to the mama. I said, now, you need to get up and go down there and talk. And mama never moved. Then I started talking to the coach. Man, what kind of coach? They paying you. What kind of coach are you that's going to not go and coach when a coach is needed? And I even I'm talking to King. Man, this movie is about you, King Richard. What kind of king are you that's going to allow your daughter to sit down there and flounder? She was floundering in this moment. She didn't know what to do because she didn't have not one friendly voice to speak to her. So I was angry. I was frustrated. Because nobody should be in a situation where they're doing, this is her new thing. This will be her second time doing it. She's on TV. This is a new environment. She can be successful in this if she just had a friend to help her get through this one unexpected situation. Just a friend, just somebody. She didn't need a tennis player. She needed somebody who'd been through life and understood that although this thing is happening unexpectedly, God will still show up. He'll still get you. You still can win. You are still the best player on this court today. I don't care if she's staying there for 2 hours. When she come back out, the butt whipping that was waiting on her, we're going to be waiting on her when she come back out, right? That's all she needed. And so I began to research this. And I began to understand because it made no sense to me why mama, daddy, coach, fans, nobody, sisters, nobody went and talked to her. And this is what it is. In tennis, there is a rule different than any other sport. Most of us grew up playing football. You go back to the huddle. You're able to talk with your teammates. Man, that was a bad play. Don't worry about it. Just, get back up, forget that play, go back out and play. Most of us are used to boxing where you go to a corner And when you go to the corner, people are there saying, oh, you did this good, you did this bad. Don't worry about it, don't give up, open up, let me take that out. Let me put this under your eye, let me help you with your wounds. Most of us are used to sports like that. Most of us are used to playing basketball, where the entire time you're on the court, you're talking to each other, you're running plays, you're calling things out. Most of us are used to sports where the coach is on the sideline constantly yelling at the players on the field, on the court, in the boxing ring. But most of us are not familiar with the way tennis works. In tennis, you get penalized if you get coached by anybody. If a parent says anything to you, if a coach says anything to you. The reason why the reason why mom, the reason why dad, the reason why the coach didn't say anything to Venus is because had they said anything to Venus, she would have been disqualified, penalized. And so in this sport called tennis, it's just you and your new thing and your thing, and you have to go out and you have to encourage yourself and you have to figure it out and you have to teach yourself and you have to talk to yourself. And when you're messing up, you can only depend on yourself. But in life, God never intended for you to be by yourself trying to do your new thing, trying to do your old thing, trying to do your marriage thing, trying to do your parenting thing, trying to do your work thing, trying to do your business thing. God never intended for us to ever be listen, God never intended for any of us to play the rules of tennis in our life. This is a game in which when it's over with, it's over with. But listen, life is so important. Life is so crucial. You have to hear me today. You have to understand, in order for you to be successful in your new thing, your old thing, and everything, it requires for you to be surrounded by people who love you, who are willing to speak into your life, who are willing to hold you accountable when you mess up, who are willing to encourage you when you fall, even when it's your mistake. That's still there to say, now, you know, you messed up on this, but I'm still here with you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to walk away. I know that some of those other people have walked out of your life. This is the time in which I walk in, right? Because you are a friend to me and I understand what you're going through, or even if I don't understand what you're going through. You are my friend. This is not a tennis match. I'm going to be yelling at you, texting you, calling you, stopping by to see you, speaking into your life, praying for you, sacrifice for you, doing everything that I need to do in order for you to be successful in the thing that God has for you. And as I begin to look at the Bible, I begin to see this thing. It happens in Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. I want you guys to see this. And let me just talk to you for a second, because this is what happens. God starts in Genesis. And the reason why I go back to Genesis on this, anytime I'm doing any type of sermon, I'm always going back to look at the first time it's mentioned and the first time Jesus mentions it. The first time friendship is mentioned is way back in Genesis chapter 2. I want you guys to see this now. God begins to create the world that we live in today. And the first thing he does is he creates light. And this is what God says about light. That's good. And then all of a sudden he creates the land. He says, okay, you know what? Let's move some of this water around. Let me see some land. And he begins to create land. And you know, he looks at the land and you know what he says? That's good. And then all of a sudden he begins to say, okay, now, you know, that land is good, but it sure enough be a lot better if it has some greens on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create collard greens and all these different types of things. I'm going to create corn and all these different types of vegetation and plants. And he looked at that third day and he said, this is good. Then he said, now check this out. It's light all day long. All night long. It's light all the time. And so what I'm going to do is I will separate the light from the day and the light from the night. And then I'm going to put some beautiful stars up in the sky so people can hold hands and walk and look up at the sky and the moon and all this kind of stuff. And he looked at these lights, the lesser lights and the great light in the day. And he looked at it and he said, this is good. He said, you know what? All that vegetables, all those greens, all that corn, we need somebody to go down there and eat that stuff. And so I'm going to create animals. And so he started creating animals that fly and animals in the water and animals on the land and everything that creeps and crawls. And he looked at it and he said, this is good. And then the sixth day, he creates man. He creates us. And they look at this man that they have created on the sixth day. And they look at him and they say, this is good. And then all of a sudden, they get over to Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. Then Yahweh Elohim said, it is. For the first time in the history of the world, for the first time in the history of the world, God looked at something and said, this is not good. What is this thing that he looked at and said, this is not good? He said, it is not good for man to be alone. We were made to have friends. God looked at all this, the lights and the land and the vegetation and the collard greens and the corn and the beef and all the steak and all the stuff. He looked at all this stuff. I'm trying to make it so plain so you can see it. He looked at the lights. He looked at the night. He saw the night. He saw the moon. And he said, man, Lionel would sure enjoy that moon and those stars a lot better if he had a Shaka walking along with him, right? Because man was not created to be alone. As God began to look at Adam day by day with all this beautiful stuff he blessed Adam with. Listen, I want you to understand this. Adam had so much dominion over things he never had. All he had to do was just think it. Things came up, he named it. He named the stuff. He had dominion over everything. And he got to this point where he had everything inside of his control, and yet and still God watched him. Adam never complained. Adam never said, hey, I'm bored. Adam never said, I need something more. God observed him. God watched him. And the observation that God came back with after watching him with everything that he could have possibly ever imagined being provided to him, every blessing that he could have ever, all the food, all the shelter, all the companionship, animals and everything that, some of us, we've gotten to be animal people, right? We as long as you give me my dog, my cat, and that's all I need. I don't need any people in my life. And what God did was he looked at all that stuff, all the animals, the lights, the moon, the vegetation. And his observation after watching man live in all the blessings that he had for him was that it is not good for the man to be alone. Matter of fact, this is what I need to do. I believe, this is what God said, I believe that every single person needs helpers around them. Every single person needs people around them, close people around them. Got to see this. You don't just need friends. Some of you got 800,000 friends on Facebook. Those are not friends. Think about Yeshua. He had 5,000 people. He was friendly with them, right? He fed all 5,000 people. That's a pretty good friend. I believe that they ought to eat. They came, they ought to eat. Let's make this happen. Miracle, let's do it. He had 140-some people who were constantly in contact with him. He pastored. They were a part of his church. He had 12 people that he poured into, spent a lot of time with. But listen to this. He had 3 people. He had 3 people that were close friends. They were with him everywhere, every amazing thing he did. They were with him when 5,000 people were with him. They were with him when 144 people were with him. And they were also with him when the 12 people were with him. But listen, there were times. There were times when he needed a close friend, when he needed to be close to some people that the other 9 wouldn't do, right? I need just these 3 people. These are the people in which I'm going to build the entire church on, and I'm going to pour into them. They're going to be there with me. They will see me at my worst. When I'm in the Garden of Gethsemane, I'm getting ready to give up. I'm right in front of them. They're seeing me at my worst. They're going to see me at my best. This is what the Bible says to you. That everything that your society has told you about friends is false. Like that 700 people, that's the crowd. Those are the 5,000 people. They don't know you any better than you know them. They are not friends. You just be friendly to everybody. We should be like Christ, friendly to everybody. He was friendly to the people who he didn't even know, had no idea of who they were. He was also very friendly to the people in his 150, the people who were around him in his community, a part of those people who he was doing life with. He was very good friends for those people, those 12 people who experienced him more than the other 144. But listen to me. He understood the importance of having 3 people who will be around him no matter what he went to. And look what this verse says. It is not good for you to be alone. And you need to understand, it is also not good for you to have 500 close friends. That there are some people that God is going to put inside of your life that will be a helper and just right for you. And when you go through a situation, a tennis situation, and you're scared and you don't know what this thing comes out of left field and you don't know what to do, and this thing happened that you had no idea, or this issue shows up in your life, for those 3 or 4 or 5 people, for those 10 people, it might even be 10 people, for those people who are absolutely close to you, it is critical for you in order for you to get through your new thing, your old thing, and anything. That each and every one of us, we need. I know the society says you don't need anybody, team of me, right? Team, it's just me, it's just, no. Matter of fact, as I begin to look at it, I think a lot of us are playing tennis and we're allowing for a lot of barriers to our close friends to come inside of our life. I think for many of us, we're doing things to stop close friendships from happening inside of our life as if we're playing tennis instead of just playing, what God wants us to play. For many of us, we are allowing selfishness. All we want to talk about is us. All we want to hang out with is people who agree with us. It's people who affirm us. People who speak to us, and now we call it confirmation because they just repeated back to you what you already said or what they know will make you feel good about you. We only want to be surrounded by people who agree with our lifestyle, who agree with us. The next barrier that keeps us from developing real good friends, close friends, is modeling. I think for a lot of us, we just have never seen friendship modeled well. We grew up in houses in which it was just family. We didn't have friends outside of the house. It's just us against the world. And this is what you realize as you get older. There are situations that will happen inside of your life, and mama and dad are not the best people to give you advice for it. And in that situation, you Venus Serena, you just out there floating, don't know what to say because you go to mom and dad, they won't even listen to you. They've already got an answer for it. Some of you guys grew up like me, right? But it's important for us to get to this place, even if you haven't seen it modeled inside of your life, for us to get to this place where we understand you do not have to go through this life alone. You can have close friends. Not just modeling, but because it was modeled, friendship's not a priority for some of us. You actually believe that you don't need friends. And because you don't need friends, what you need is money, right? That's what we need: money, we need power, we need job, we need all this stuff. I got all this stuff that I need to build this stuff, I need to do this stuff. And instead of prioritizing the friendships in our life, we're focused on just getting the stuff that we want. And here's the reality: you can acquire as much stuff. Listen, you can acquire as much stuff as you can. But stuff is nothing without people to enjoy the stuff with. You can build the biggest house you want to, but it's just more rooms for you to walk around and be lonely in and wonder, wish that you had somebody in there. Stuff will never replace friends. For some of us, it's a pride thing. We don't want people to know our vulnerabilities. It's hard for us to develop close friendships because we won't open up and say, hey, man, I struggle with this. I feel this way. I feel bad about this. I sometimes cry at night. We don't want people to know what we're suffering with. We don't want people to know what we're getting ready to lose the house. We need to let somebody know we need help. We need friends. And we don't tell anybody, and then all of a sudden everybody knows because you don't live there no more. But our pride stops us from developing close, needed friendships. Not just pride, but fear. Some of us have been hurt by close friends. People who we shouldn't have had as close friends because they were selfish and they didn't understand friendship, and you weren't a priority for them, and they were prideful and they were jealous and they were gossipers, and we made them for some strange reason our close friend, and they hurt us, and now because they hurt us, we no longer want to have close friends. But for some of us, we're always worried about what people are going to take from us. We're too jealous. We're always believing that somebody wants what we have. And so what? Guess what we do? We won't share ourselves. We won't open up to people. We won't allow for people to come in close. And for some of us, you might know about this. We just tell people business. Nobody's going to allow for you to get in their business if they can't trust that you won't tell everybody else about their business. And gossip, so many times, it pushes away the opportunity for close friends. I want to go back. I want to look at David's life. I want us to look at his life, and I want us to see how important friends were inside of his new thing, inside of his life in general. Let's go back to this first thing. The first thing I want to say, that close friends, they hold you accountable. Do y'all remember this? Guy named Nathan? He was a close friend to David. Everybody else in the whole kingdom was letting David do what he wanted to do. He was running back and forth, messing around with Bathsheba and killed her husband, did all these crazy, foolish things, and nobody said a word. All those associates, all those people around, all those friends that he had, nobody said to him, man, you're messing up. You're going to ruin your family. You're ruining somebody else's family. You're killing somebody. You're taking something that doesn't belong to you. None of his friends were able to say or wanted to say that to him, but all of a sudden, this good friend shows up. His name is Nathan, and this is what Nathan says. You are wrong. You are the man. You are the person that's doing the wrong thing. God anointed you, and he gave you everything that you needed. Why are you acting like this? For many of us, this is what we need. We just need a close friend. We just need somebody to come and say something to us. Think about this. There were times in your life where the people around you who should have been guardrails, should have said something to you, should have pulled you to the side, should have let you know what you were doing was that they didn't want to be disagreeable with you. They didn't want to say to you what you needed to hear, which was you're messing up, you're making mistakes, you're getting ready to ruin your life. And instead of saying something, those are not close friends. I'm telling you, I don't care how long you've been hanging out together. People who are not willing to hold you accountable when you are messing up are not close friends. Every close friend, anybody who loves you like a close friend loves you, is not willing to sit back and watch you go through things unnecessarily. They will call you on your stuff. Not only close friends, they hold you accountable. I want you guys to see this. Close friends are with you. I want you guys to see this. Then, this is David talking. Then we must flee at once or it will be too late. This is what his close friends say to him. We're with you. Do whatever you think is best. Listen, I'm with you. This is what you need. You need people, close friends. When you go through things in your life, when people start to walk out, you need some people that you can depend on that's going to walk in. You need people in your life, not just who are for you, but people who are willing to be with you. You need people in your life who are going to be proactive. You don't need people saying, this is not close friends, don't say this. Just call me if you need me. I know this is going to be a tough time. Just call me, reach out to me. I get over there if you. No. This is what close friends do. They're with you. They stop by. They call you. They check on you. And every single one of us, you need close friends. If you have people in your life you consider close, but you haven't seen in years, they haven't called you in years. If you have people, listen, close friends are people who are going to be there. I'm there in spirit. No such thing. Let me just correct that. No such thing. You cannot be there in spirit. You cannot. Only Jesus, only God can be there in spirit. That is meaningless when I'm going through a loss, when my mama's sick. That is meaningless when my marriage is on the rocks. That is meaningless when I'm having trouble with my children. You need people who are with you, who are willing to listen. Look what he says. We are willing to listen to you. We're willing to serve you. We're willing to trust you. We're going to trust you. We're going to believe that even during this season in which you're experiencing this trial or this loss or whatever it is that you're going through, that we're going to still believe in you and we're going to be there with you. And regardless of what's going on, this is what's not going to happen. I am not going to be over there while you over here suffering. I'm going to be with you. I want you guys to see this because close friends they're ride or die. Look at these words. This is the old way of saying ride or die. I vow by Yahweh. Look what, wherever my Lord the King goes, I'm riding. And no matter what happens, I'm willing to give my life. I'm ride or die. It doesn't matter what goes on. You need 2 or 3 people, 4 or 5 people inside your life that no matter what you're going through, they are ride or die people. No matter what arguments happen between y'all, no matter what disagreements happen between y'all, no matter what mistakes, no matter what they put on the news about you, I'm ride or die. I don't care what come out about you, Pastor. I don't care what come out about you, First Lady. We are ride or die. We're going to be with you regardless of whatever you go through in your life. All of us, we need a close friend that will intercede for us. I want you guys to look at what Zadok and Abiathar are doing. They're offering sacrifices. They are going before the Lord and they're praying for this friend. They're going before the Lord and they are doing what it takes. They're trying to move heaven and earth in order to stand by this friend. You don't need people to be asleep while you up all night. You need people who are fasting with you. You need people who are speaking inside of your life. You need people who are willing to go before the Lord and not just pray for their own selfish needs, but to pray for you and to pray for you first. When my knees hit the ground, the first thing I'm going to pray for is my close friend that's going through this situation. All of us, we're going to go through something where we're going to lose something like David is going through this thing. We're going to mourn. We're going to get in this situation where we need somebody to be with us. And listen to me, every single one of us, you need good, close friends to mourn with you. Hosea, the Archite, was waiting for him. Nobody had to send for him. Nobody had to go find him. Nobody had to send a Facebook messenger, a text. He was waiting for him. Listen, I know what you've been through. I know what you're going through. I know what you lost. I know what's coming against you. Nobody has to call me. Nobody has to tell anything. I don't have to try and figure out whether or not you want me to be around or whether you want to be alone or not. I don't care what's going on, and I don't care what you choose or what you prefer. I'm showing up. I'm going to be right on the mountain waiting on you. I'm going to tear my clothing so you can understand. I'm not just over here coming to brag about how good God has been to me and how wonderful things are going inside of my life, but I'm going to be present with you in the midst of this situation. I'm going to be patient with you. I'm going to be kind to you, and I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to speak inside your life. I'm going to rip my shirt. I'm going to put dirt on my head. I'm going to do whatever it takes. Close friends. All of us need close friends who are willing to rejoice. It's good to have people around when you go on top, rejoice with you. That's what Paul said. People who rejoice with us when we're on top. But listen, in order for you to have a close friend not only rejoices with you when things are good, but they mourn with you. And let me tell you something about close friend. A close friend does not rush you through the mourning process, but a close friend is willing to mourn with you for the rest, ride or die, for the rest of your life if necessary. I want you to imagine this tragic situation that would have been going on inside of David's family. I want you to imagine it from the vantage point of his son, Solomon, who would have been of age to see all this stuff happening. You know, the house was lost. They went through the issue, whatever the issue was, the mistake was made public. He would have been of age to be able to understand everything that was going on, and he would have saw people every step of the way, along the way, coming to him, supporting his dad, supporting his family, being there for his family. He would have saw these kind of things. And some years later, he'd be writing Ecclesiastes. And he began to talk about the benefits of having these good, close friends inside of your life. And this is what he would write. He wrote, 2 people are better than 1. We were not created to be alone, guys. We were not created to push people away from us. We're not created to guard ourselves, to be guarded, to not allow for people to be on the inside with us. We're not created to block people. We were not created to not call people back. We were not created to cuss people out. We were not created to cause issues that create barriers inside of our situation. 2 people are better than 1. He would have saw these because he understood that the second person working with this first person could help them succeed. That these 4 or 5 people that gave their life to David is the reason why David was able to come back and be the king again. Because he had these 4 or 5 close friends that were very close to him, that held him accountable and encouraged him when he was down and did whatever it took. Some of them went back in as spies and planted all kind of misinformation and caused all kind of issues because they were ride or die. They were willing to die for David because they were his close friends, and he had to have his close friends just like you have to have close friends. Because you plus somebody else, both of you succeed better. Both of you are able to accomplish more. Both of you are able to be there for each other. Not only are you able to see success, but if one person falls, the other person can reach out and help. Not only can somebody else help you when you fall and you have close friends, but someone who falls alone you're in trouble when you by yourself, when you push everybody else away. You were never designed. It was never designed for you to be by yourself. It was never designed for you to be sitting somewhere pushing everybody away by yourself. It was always designed for you to have somebody close to you and helping you and encouraging you and picking you up when you fall and helping you get out of real trouble. He says, likewise, 2 people lying close together can keep each other warm. How can one person by himself keep himself warm? And what he's saying is that there are going to be times in your life when you're Venus, man, and you're out there and you're floundering and you don't know what to do. And if you stay out there by yourself, you're going to lose. You're not going to finish strong. But if you have close friends, if you have people who will hold you accountable, will speak into your life, will pray for you, fast for you, if you have people who encourage you when you want to give up, if you have people who ride or die, regardless of the situation, I'm going into my pocket for you. I'm using my close friends, not everybody. Close friends. That you can get through every situation in your life. He goes a little bit further. God imagines now, this would have been Solomon looking at his dad and everything that went through, everything that happened and how his friends rallied around him and helped him get through it. He says, a person standing alone can be attacked and defeated. But 2, man, we put out, men of Shaka, listen to me, y'all. y'all better know, we put our backs to each other. There's no force on this earth that can separate us, that can take us over, that can defeat us, that can attack us. He says 3. So the more close friends. 3 is even better. If you can get 3 close friends, you get 4 close friends inside of your life. People who are willing to hold you accountable, willing to sacrifice, willing to protect you, willing to speak in your life, willing to fast. I wouldn't have a close friend in my life that wasn't willing to fast with me. If I say something about a fast and you say, well, good luck on that fast, I'm looking sideways at you. I'm like, what? I thought we were close friends. I got a question for you. Do you have close friends? Do you feel like you have the people in your life that can help you get through a Venus situation? When life turns on you and it throws a curve at you that you never imagined would happen, and now all of a sudden the thing that you were confident in, now you're not confident in it, and now you're thinking about quitting, you're thinking about giving up, you think you're going to lose something, or you're going through a mourning season, you lose somebody that's important to you, and now you are alone. Do you have people? Have you developed the relationships important? I'm not talking about people who's 500,000 miles away and and they'll call and check on you for a season. I'm talking about, do you have close people in your life, people who will come and check on you if they haven't heard from you in a few days? They call you a few times. You don't answer because you're going through that thing that you go through about once or twice a year. And then you hear the doorbell ring. And it's somebody saying, hey, I hadn't heard from you. You going through that thing again? Is that thing bothering you again? Okay, I'm here for you to get you through this thing. You're not in this thing alone. You're not out there. I know this person just made a bathroom time out in the middle of your life. And I know this thing is hurting you. I know you're going through this situation. And I want to let you know I'm walking on the cord with you. I'm going to stand beside you. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to be there for you. Because in order to have these close friends, it requires us to be a Christ-like friend. The same writer, this is Solomon. He looked forward and he writes Ecclesiastes and he talks about all these benefits of having a friend. And he writes in the proverb, he talks about this whole friend thing and how can we want the benefits of having friends. We want people to be around us. None of us want to be alone when we're going through the tough time of life. All of us, we want people close by to help us get through the difficult seasons of our life. And Solomon, after studying all this stuff, the wisest man besides Jesus that ever walked the earth, this is what he comes up. This is the formula. This is how you get good best friends, the close people to you. This is how you do it. And you think it'll be all these complicated things, but he says, a man who has friends must himself be friendly. That in order for you to have close friends, it requires you to actually learn how to be a close friend. It requires for you to stop thinking about yourself all the time. It requires for you to stop being so prideful and comparing and gossiping about people and talking about people. It requires for you to stop being so judgmental. It requires for you to actually be present, actually be in their lives. I'm not talking about just text from time to time and send a word a day that touches your heart, but I'm talking about actually be present, actually make time for the people, make it a priority. In order for you to have close friends, it requires for you to master the art of being a close friend, of being a Christ-like friend. And not just that, but it says, not only do you have to, first of all, be friendly, but this the other part of it, got to see both of this whole thing in context, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. You need to understand this. As you are a more friendly person, as you are a more Christ-like person and you become more friendly, you are going to attract more friends. That's a fact. That's what the word says. But you need to understand, some of those friends are in the 5,000. Some of those friends are in the 150. Some of those friends are in the 12. And some of those friends are my Robert Lyons. Some of those friends are my Deacon Neil. Some of those friends are my Warren. Some of those friends are my Lorianne. Some of those friends are my Bridget. I love everybody. Listen, I'm just like Jesus. I love everybody in the 5,000. But I don't mind calling these names out there. You can be mad at me whether you're on this list or not. But this is what I'm going to do. I will continue to try my best to be the best friend I can possibly be to every single person I encounter, stranger, cousin, family member. I try, hold me accountable to it. I try every day of my life to be the best friend that I can be. I try to pattern my life like Jesus. Surprise, I'm a preacher. I try to pattern my life to be like Jesus. But I understand that there are going to be some friends, Paula Motley, Sloan, Angelo, Ray, Brandy, Tiffany, Mama, my dad, my mom, my dad, they are among my best friends. There are going to be some people who are going to stick to you closer than a brother. They're going to be see that word closer? They're going to be some people. You aim to be friends with everybody you come in contact with, but you need to understand there are going to be some people that are going to be closer to you, that like a brother to you. And for those people, this is what the pastor is trying to get you to see. I want you to be the best possible close, Christ-like close friend that you can be. Because what the word says and what I believe and what I've experienced in my life, that the friendlier I am, the nicer I am, the more open I am to people, the friendlier I am, the more friends that I have. And in the midst of me gathering those friends, God begins to reveal those close friends. That we live in a world who tells you that you don't need anybody but you, and that you don't need friends. And I know some of us have been hurt by friends, and some of us, we didn't see this model, and some of us, we just don't feel kind of, even when I'm talking about this friend stuff, just feel funny on the inside, right? As you can see, I don't feel funny on the inside when it comes, I like this kind of stuff. But for some, I understand for some of us, our chemical makeup, our environment, the way we were raised, the things that we've been through are prohibitive to making this an easy thing. But if you want to have friends, you have to be friendly. And when God begins to reveal those close friends, you have to be Christ-like. I got a list of those things. Let me see this real quick. This is what it requires to be a Christ-like friend. Be cheerful. Smile. To who? To just my close 3 friends? No, everybody. Because the point of this is you probably have more than 3 Christ-like friends that should be in your life, but you are limiting yourself to those 2 or 3 people who are really not close to you because you refuse to smile. Be comfortable. Be yourself. You're trying to get people to be a close friend to somebody that you're not. And regardless of who you are, what they're a close friend, I don't care what mistakes that you've made or what you've been through, be comfortable with who you are. That is the only way that you can develop close and deep relationships. Nobody wants to be around a person that's faking, a person that's shallow. Everybody don't try to sugarcoat anything for me. Be yourself. Stop thinking about yourself. Be concerned about other people. Don't make the conversation always about you. You want to be a close friend? Be considerate. Listen to people. Listen, not just be sympathetic. Oh, I feel so sorry for you. That hurts for me to see that I'm going to be considerate. Compassionate. Not only do I hurt when I see it, but I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to be present. I'm going to be around. When everybody else walk out, I'm going to walk in. I'm going to give. I'm going to go in my pocket. I'm going to give my money. I'm going to give my time. Be consistent. Nobody's close to me is unreliable. I don't have one close friend that's unreliable. I don't care what I need. I feel like for my close friend group, the people who are close to me, I will do anything for them. I believe that they will do anything for me. When I call them, they're going to call me back soon. It's not going to be a situation in which I'm never going to hear from them. They're not unreliable. I can't be unreliable. Look what I saw in Jesus. Confidential. Anytime I go talk to Jesus, he never tells anybody what I say. Anytime my friends talk to me, I'm not going to tell anybody else. Anytime you want to have close friends, you get to this place where you're Christ-like and you're confidential and you keep it. When you give it to Christ, it's there, right? And that's the only place it is. Hey, let me just pause for a second and just say this real quick. Every time you've heard something come back to you, it wasn't because the person you told that was a close friend told people about it. But you tell so many people your business. I just had to get that in. So the last thing, I want you guys to see this now. Be candid. You want to have close friendships? Be honest. If somebody's doing something wrong, tell them. That's Christ-like for you to say in love, this is not right. That's Christ-like for you to be able to say to somebody, that doesn't look right. You shouldn't wear that. Close friends are the kind of friends that can look at that. I wouldn't go out the house in that. I have a real simple question for you. What is God saying to you about the way that you, not anybody else, I'm not talking about anybody else, I'm talking about just you, just focus on you. What is God saying to you about the way that you handle close friendships? Do you play it like tennis, where you don't want anybody close to you? You're just fighting through your new thing, whatever it is that you're going through. You want to push people out. You don't want to let anybody in. Whatever it is that you're struggling with, whatever that thing is that you're struggling with, do people know about it, or are you playing tennis? Are you keeping it to yourself? Are you hiding it from other people? Are you operating in some kind of pride? Are you operating? Is friendship not a priority? What is God saying to you about the way you approach this beautiful gift? I want you guys to see this. Yahweh looked at man. He observed man. And his observation was every man needs close friends. Not only am I asking you, what is God saying to you about the way you handle close friendships, but I'm also asking you, how is your life going to be different as you begin to, because this is what you've been missing. Matter of fact, we have a loneliness epidemic right now. There is a person in the government assigned, a minister of loneliness now. We have a loneliness epidemic in the United States. People are more lonely now than they've ever been in the history of the United States. What is God going to do? How is this going to change your life to get to this place where you remove all the barriers to close friendships and allow for yourself to become a friendly person, a person who is able to connect deeply with people, and a person that is able to experience close and deep friendships? Because this week, real simple thing, I want you to get this in your spirit. As the praise team comes forward, I will be the best Christ-like friend I can be, and I will choose close friends carefully. I want you guys to say that with me.
I will be the best Christ-like friend I can be, and I will choose close friends carefully.
Say it like you believe it.
I will be the best Christ-like friend I can be, and I will choose close friends carefully.
Now say it like you believe it.
I will be the best Christ-like friend I can be, and I will choose close friends carefully.
To God be the glory. I'm believing that. Amen. Come on. Yeah, let's praise God in this place. I'm believing that God is speaking to you today as the ministers come forward. I'm believing that as you make that declaration of your life, that God is beginning to move inside of your life, and God is going to send you the friendships, those close people that you need to do life together. You need people in order to do life together. I'm believing that God is reconnecting some people in your life to you right now, that he's putting people on your heart. And for some of us, we'll need some prayer. And so we're opening this altar up for anybody who needs prayer, anybody who is struggling with this word today, anybody who wants to pray for a friend, wants to pray for a friendship, anybody in need of prayer. We're also opening this altar up for anybody who wants to give their life to Christ. You're talking about a friend. If you've never given your life to Christ, then you have no idea what it means to be in a relationship with a true friend, somebody who will be there with you regardless of the situation that you have in your life. I want to open this altar up for anybody who wants to make Christ their friend today. I also want to open this altar up for anybody who is looking for a church. Listen, one of the places where you're going to meet the most Christ-like friends is actually committing to a Christ-like church. And for whatever reason, this is part of the epidemic. All of us will belong to a church growing up, more than likely. But now, we don't want to commit to a church. And I'm believing that the friends that you are looking for, the deep relationships that you're looking for, they exist in this house. But it requires for you to come and give your hand to the house. You take a step forward, we take a step forward, and we become those close friends because we all need each other in this life. You no longer have to be Venus on the court by yourself. Come and join with us today. If you're online, join with us today. To God be the glory. Amen.